Hello, hello, it's Tanya Dalton, owner of Inkwell Press, and today I want to talk to you about How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is a book that was written way back in the 1930s, but it's considered one of the best business books ever written. Even today, it's consistently considered one of the top 50 business books of all time. And I love how Dale Carnegie talks about connection. So I want to share with you How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie's 6 essential tips for connection. Now, Dale Carnegie's book, as I mentioned, is considered one of the best business books, but even though it's considered business, I really think the ideas he shares in here are applicable for regular, everyday life. As a matter of fact, I have my 15-year-old son reading it because I really feel like it can help him with connecting with friends at school. Now, the book is divided into 4 parts. There's the fundamental techniques of handling people, 6 ways to make people like you, how to win people over to your way of thinking, and then being a leader, how to change people without giving offense. What I really want to do though today is I want to talk about the 6 ways to really make people like you. So I want to share those 6 tips with you really quickly. Tip number 1 is to be truly interested in people. Dale says you can make more friends in 2 months by being genuinely interested in other people than you can make in 2 years by trying to make them interested in you. I think that's true because people like to be remembered. People love it when you are really genuinely interested in them. So when people ask us about our families or what's going on in our current lives, it really makes us feel special. And so think about how that feels for other people when you do that for them. It really connects them to you and it makes them feel drawn to you. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you're truly interested in other people. So you can practice this by greeting people with genuine happiness. Your hello should reflect the way that you feel when you see them. So when you see them, a great smile and a genuine hello can go really far in making those connections. And along with that is tip number 2, smile and make a good first impression. Everybody loves to see a smile on your face. Here's the thing, smiles are contagious. When Sean Achor, happiness expert, speaks to groups, he does a little quick experiment where he has 2 people partnered up together. One person looks the other person deep in the eye and smiles at them genuinely. The other person, their job is to just sit there. And 9 times out of 10, they end up smiling too, because smiles truly are contagious. Now what's interesting is that when Sean has done this experiment, even in places like the Middle East, where the women's faces are partially obscured, they still smile. Because even though you can't see their mouth smiling, you can sense it. You can see it in their eyes, you can hear it in their voice, and even see it in their demeanor. This is why a lot of customer service agents smile when they're talking on the phone, especially to difficult customers. Even when you're typing, your smile can come through and feel contagious. So these are one of the things that really helps you feel warm and draws people to you. So to practice this tip, you could try consciously paying attention when you're walking around to make sure you're looking people in the eye and giving them just a quick smile. Tip number 3 is remembering a person's name is the key to their heart. Everybody likes the sound of their own name. As a matter of fact, Carnegie says a person's name is the sweetest and most important sound in their own language. I think that's true. We all like the sound of our own name. We like it when people greet us and remember our name. That makes us feel important. But it does take effort to try to remember faces with names. And if you struggle with this, you really need to try to consciously put the names with the faces. So a couple of ways you can do this is practice saying their name several times when you're having the conversation with them the first time. Just repeat their name, as long as it doesn't seem awkward, a couple of times throughout your conversation. Or if they have an unusual name, you could ask them to spell it for you and then write it down. All of those things will help you remember their name next time you see them. The 4th tip is to be a good listener. Now, a lot of us think we're really good listeners, but here's what I want you to ask yourself. When you are having a conversation with someone, are you busy listening or are you busy thinking about what you want to say next? A lot of us do that. We tend to think about, during a conversation, what we want to interject with or what 2 cents we want to add to the conversation, because we like feeling important too. But being a good listener means you actually actively take time to listen. People are 100 times more interested in themselves than they are in other people. So when you actively listen to them and you create conversation that shows that you're listening, you can really build off of that and build deeper connections. So to practice this, I would say aim for that 80-20 rule. In other words, I want you to practice spending 80% of your time listening and 20% of your time talking. And really start to pay attention to how often in conversations you're thinking about what you want to say next. Tip number 5 is to think about their interests, not your own. We know people like to talk about themselves, so allow them to do that. Now, I know this can be hard because we have things that we're interested in, right? And we want to talk about our things. But really thinking about that last tip and actively listening and paying attention to what they want to talk about really can make a difference. People find that when they're talking about the things that they love, they think that you are an excellent conversationalist. Now, Theodore Roosevelt was one of our most beloved former presidents. And the reason why was because he was so good at connecting with people on a deeper level. What people didn't realize is anytime he knew that a guest was coming, he would spend the night before studying up on their interests, whether that be bird watching or hunting or trains or whatever it was. He would take some time to really research and look into their interests, and then he would create conversations around those things. So it's not a hard thing for us to do. Just spend a few minutes when you're listening to conversation with somebody. Take a moment to really internalize what they seem to be really interested in. What lights their eyes up? What do they get excited when they're speaking about that? Make yourself a little note, and next time you know you're going to be meeting with them, take 5 minutes to do a touch of research, and it really can make a difference in helping them feel a little more connected to you. And the 6th thing you can do is make them feel important, and do it sincerely. Think about this. How can you brighten someone else's day? How do you feel when you get a compliment from someone? It really can make the difference between having a bad day or a rough day and really having a good one. It can turn someone's day completely around. And we should be happy to make someone else's day. When you think about it, when you make someone else's day, doesn't it make your day a little bit better too? And even if there isn't something in return for you, just the act of doing something for our fellow man really can make a difference. But here's the catch. It needs to be genuine. You can't just blow smoke and give somebody overstroking of their ego with a bunch of compliments. It needs to be things that you truly admire in them or things that you really like. I find that one of the things that I do is when I get really good service at a store or a restaurant, I'll ask them for their email address of their boss, and I'll tell them, I want to email your boss and tell them what an amazing employee you are. Every time I do that, that person's face lights up and I know it's brightened their day. It doesn't do anything for me personally other than the fact that it makes me feel good. So I want to encourage you to go out today and compliment 3 people with genuine compliments. Now, these are Dale Carnegie's 6 tips on how to deepen your connections and really get people to like you. And I want to know, which one of these practices do you think you will try today? None of them are terribly difficult, so I want you to really try one of them. So comment below and tell me which one you would like to do. Now, before we sign off, I want to point something out to you. Did you notice that the words sincere and genuine showed up again and again in these ideas? That's because that's the key. You need to be real and honest. Be truly interested in other people, and then people will become interested in you. So I really want to encourage you to try one of these today. Now, I'll have a new video for you next Tuesday, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button. I do have a podcast episode 86, which is all about creating connections, the importance of connecting with others. So if you want to go a little deeper into this idea of how to build these connections, I would encourage you to give that a listen. I also have a couple of blog posts, so I'll be sure to link to those below. All right, until next time, have a beautiful and productive week.